Hi, welcome back to Hari's BI. This video is about how to use Fabric pipelines easily like a self-service for data extraction, transformation and load. And this will be for anyone who want to use the Fabric platform for data extraction, transformation and load with the help of Fabric pipelines, and also it will be for Power BI users who are already using the platform for report creations. In case if they want to expand that to have the data extraction layer in place as a self-service, then they can still leverage this Fabric pipelines. Let's get started. To create a new pipeline, we need to go to the data factory experience. To go to data factory experience, click on this Power BI icon and you will see different experience, and we are going to choose data factory. Here we have two services, one is data flow gen 2 and another one is data pipeline. So either you can go to data factory and choose the data pipeline, or let's say if you are in Power BI experience itself and if you want to create a new pipeline, you can go to the workspace and you can click new, and you will see an option called more option, and you can see a data factory. Right, both are same. It will navigate to the same window. When you click this data pipeline under data factory, it will ask you to name the pipeline. So I have just named it as ETL and click create. So when you click create, the pipeline will be created and we can start add the activities. Okay, this is the canvas for creating a new pipeline. And if you are already worked with Azure ADF, right, Azure Data Factory, it is a similar workload, but it is hosted on Fabric, and you have option to add different activities here on this pipeline. But as part of the self-service, you can start with either this, choose a task to start, and so when you click, this will give you a list of templates where you can easily choose any of the template, and you can simply change your source and target connections, and it will be done. Like you can simply create a pipeline easily with this kind of templates, or you can choose this option copy data, or you can still go to copy data and expand this drop down, and you will see an option called use copy assistant. If you are not using this copy assistant, let's say if you are adding a copy activity, you have to configure all of this like source, and you need to create a new connection, you need to choose a table, whatever it is, and then destination. You have to configure all of this by going to these windows. But in case, let's say I'm going to delete this, in case if you want to use this copy assistant, right, so if you are not sure about how to use the copy activity or a copy data, you can choose this option use copy assistant, and it will give you the step-by-step instructions where you can choose your data source, destination, and then that's all, right. It will create a copy activity for you or copy data for you, right. So now we have selected the this copy data assistant, and here it is listing out all the sample data. Let's say if you want to try with any sample data, you can go ahead and use this any of the sample data, or let's say you have data stored in Azure SQL, right. You can see different data connectors which are supported as part of this copy activity, and you can see workspace. Under workspace, it will list out all the artifacts which are supported as part of the Fabric, like data warehouse and KQL databases or lake houses, right. You can have the data stored in any of these places in case if you want to leverage for copy activity, or you can go to any other sections like Azure. These are all Azure supported data sources, and you have other databases and then files and other data sources, right. Let's try to use this Azure now, and I'm going to use this Azure SQL database. So when I select Azure SQL database, then I need to click select, and I need to provide the connection details, right. If I have created my connections already as part of other pipelines, I can still leverage the same connection here. So this will list out all the connections, or in case if you want to create a new connection, click new connection, and this will give you a Power BI like experience where you need to provide the server details, database, and then the authentication and etc., right. So it is going to be like same window how you have seen in Power BI data flows and all, right. So here let's say we can provide these server details, and then we can provide the database details. This is my database that we want to use for this demo database, and then in case if I have used this server database already, right, it will show me the previous connections that I have created. Otherwise, I can go and create a new connection where I need to provide my username, the SQL Server database credentials, username and password, and that's all. With that, we can create a new connection. So now I'm going to use the existing connection that I have created, Once I've selected the connection, you can see the next option, click next. So on this window, connect to data sources. So previously we have connected to the connection itself, the Azure SQL, and this layer we are going to choose the table, right? And we have one more option called use query, right? Either you can choose the existing tables, right, or a view in case if you have created already on the database, or you can still write a query, right, SQL query combining multiple tables, and then you can consider that as a source for your copy activity. For now I'm going to choose a table called dim product, and I'm going to select next, right? So next is going to be the data destination. So on the data destination we have to choose where we want to store the data in the target system, right? So I'm going to choose lakehouse. So I'm just going to click next, and if I have any existing lakehouse, so I can choose the existing lakehouse, and so it will list out all the lakehouse that are available on this workspace, right? Or I can create a new one, create a new lakehouse, and this is the name of the lakehouse. Click next, and here we need to configure whether it should store as a table or a file, and if it is a table, and this will be the table name, right? Load to a new table or load to an existing table in case if you have lakehouse already provisioned, and you can still use that lakehouse, and there you can load this data, right, as an existing table. But now we created a new lakehouse and we are going to store the data into this new table, and we can do the mapping. If I choose the file, and you can specify the folder path and file name, how we want to store this into that lakehouse. I'm going with table now, and I can click next, and this is the overall summary. So we have configured Azure SQL database as a source, and then data lakehouse as a destination, and you can see an option called start data transfer immediately, which means whenever we click save, right, it will automatically trigger that pipeline, and it will get the data from Azure SQL, and it will store it into lakehouse. Or if you uncheck, it will just show OK, which means you are going to store this copy activity, and you can run this copy activity or a pipeline later. But now I'm going to choose this option and click save run. So when I click save run, now you can see the copy data is got added as part of that assistant configuration, and you can still verify it here when you click copy data, and you can see the source, and this is what we have configured, right? And then you can still see the destination and the mapping. So all of these things are already configured as part of that copy assistant, and now you can see this copy data is running. So you can see the status here, and this is in progress, and we need to wait until this is completed. And in case if you want to cancel this, you can see an option called cancel, and you can cancel this pipeline, right? So let's wait for this to be completed. Okay, now this pipeline got completed. You can see view run details, start time and end time, manual trigger, and this is the pipeline ID, and we can go and check this, right? If you see input, so input is Azure SQL, and this is the table, and these are all the columns, and you can see the sync, which is nothing but the target, so which is lakehouse table, right? Or we can still go to the workspace, because we have created a new lakehouse, and this is the lakehouse, right? So this is a lakehouse that we created as part of this copy data, and we can go to that lakehouse, and you can see this is the table that we have created as part of the copy data, and you can still see the data on this lakehouse itself. And you can see looks like we have only 3 rows on this dim product, so all 3 rows are loaded into this lakehouse table, right? In case if you have selected a file, then that file will be available under this file folder. So from here you can start create a new semantic model or a Power BI dataset by clicking this new semantic model option. And now we can go back to the copy activity. So this is the one where we can simply provide the source and destination, and data will be flow from that source to destination. And in case if you want to perform some kind of transformations, right, you have an option called a data flow or a notebook, right? So if you use data flow, it is nothing but a data flow gen 2, where you can see a similar like experience of data flow 1, and you will have an option to transform your data, and then you can store into a final destination. So if you use notebooks, you will have a flexibility to choose Python or a Spark or PySpark or Spark SQL, right? So all of these are possible within this notebook for you to do a transformation, and then you can load the data, and then you can simply add those notebooks or data flows as part of this pipeline, and you can easily run the pipeline on an ad hoc basis, or you can still schedule that pipeline based on your requirement. Right, so that's about the data factory pipelines in Fabric. I have done a video for data flow, how to use data flow again, like a self-service experience. If you have not watched that video, check the video. Alright, if you like this video, please click the like button and share this with your friends and colleagues. Thanks for everyone.